not them. They no longer matter.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Friday Night Frenzy, where everything is canon. The topics, well, they're more like a set of guidelines and actual rules. Joining me, as usual, is the usual suspects. We have Jared from Comics League. How you doing, buddy?
That was an awesome intro. Normally, I don't congratulate you on the last step because you're old, but congratulations, sir.
Oh.
This never happened to the other fella.
And then, of course, we have the Peanut Gallery. We have Chris, the master of everything, and the also master of none. How you doing, my man?
Hey, how's it going, man? Glad Friday's finally here.
Yes, Friday, the favorite day of the week. And last and certainly not least, we have the mistress of ships herself, Nix. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Awesome. And joining us in the chat, we got Death Wish. How you doing? Keely, always good to have you. And then a double dose of Death Wish. Oh my god. So before we get into the main topics, my crew was kind of talking about this movie, and I had to quickly shut them up to start the stream. So since I'm a generous god, talk about it.
Well, you're an old god too.
Yeah. So that movie. Okay, I just got to say this right off the top. Warner Brothers Animation, if their live action had it together as good as their animation studio, they would have probably eclipsed at the MCU.
Well, here's the thing, Chris. They did. It's just what in the early days, it's just that they didn't have Warner Brothers support, but in terms of the live action side.
Yeah, like if they that this recent movie, The Crisis on Infinite Earths,
Which I love, by the way.
Yeah, I do too. It brings up the whole Wonder Bat thing, and it basically they kind of clarify it, because what happens is you're getting different versions of Superman, and they have this one that's older, and basically they're talking about Lois Lane, and he's like, like this young Superman is talking to this older one, and he's like, do you have a Lois Lane in your world? And he's like, yeah, she was nice and everything, but she died really early in my life because he ages incredibly slowly. Like, I didn't know this. He's practically immortal. Like, he's like Aragorn. And
it basically goes off of, as long as the sun stays a yellow sun, he will not age.
Yeah.
So this is Jared to every Chloe shipper ever.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
So funny story. So this movie got actually, you know what, Chris? Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to finish.
Yeah.
So he starts talking about Diana, and he's like, I'm with Diana now. Unfortunately, I'm going to do to Diana what Lois Lane did to me. I'm going to be a blink in her eye because she's immortal. I'm not.
How does he know that?
Yeah, I don't know, but that reinforces the Wonder Woman Superman dynamic, because it's
it's just great.
She's gonna live forever essentially, unless somebody puts her down.
So funny story. So of course the movie got leaked 24 hours before, and a buddy of mine watched it. And then all of a sudden, I get these DMs. Actually, at first, so I host a show on my channel purely about Superman and Wonder Woman and their relationship history. So my co-host and I were talking about obnoxious people on Twitter, because the Superman fan base is really obnoxious on Twitter. So then I said, don't worry, we'll get our moment in the sun. An hour later, this dude texts me, I saw Crisis. You're going to want to watch this movie. So I tell her, and she's like, don't play with me. Then we get screenshots of the kiss, and then we're like, and then of course Twitter throws an absolute, I'm trying not to swear on here, it throws an absolute conniption because it's Superman kissing Lois, and kissing Wonder Woman. The funny part, Superman kissed Wonder Woman in this animated universe before he kissed Lois Lane, technically.
Yeah.
I'm like, but what's funny about it is that there were so many people freaking out about it, calling the whole movie trash because of 40 seconds. And then this one tweet, I love this. This person said, if Kingdom Come came out today, y'all would be saying it's the worst DC story ever because he's not with Lois.
But
And this, like, I have footage of Jared's reaction when he saw that.
I'll be in my bunk.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
well, in that same movie, they also confirm that Batman was with Catwoman because they have a daughter named Huntress.
Which it always is, and that's the thing about it, because even Zack Snyder, and this is one of my favorite things Zack Snyder ever said. He said, "Yeah, it's fun to play with, but Batman and Wonder Woman doesn't work. It will not work." And I'm like, even DC actually had Wonder Woman and Batman say in a comic, "This will never happen." That's one of the redeeming qualities of Tom King's Batman. I now have that panel to throw at people and say, "Suck it."
Yeah, I just to add to that, I really hope that anybody that's an anime, like a DC comics fan, because of the torrent of crap that we've been seeing a lot of, like support this. Like either if it's on the streamings, is it on?
It's available to buy. As soon as that scene leaked, I bought it right then. I was like, "Nope, I'm buying this." I ain't waiting until it shows up on Max.
I am buying this movie.
Yeah, I'm setting new rules about the couples.
Yeah.
Also, Keely, I can neither confirm nor deny any meetings I may have had.
Ooh.
Are you sure you want them to turn Screecher into the Arrowverse? Are you really sure? Think hard, Nick. That sounds.
Yeah,
like
I think I'll pass.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. But the thing about one of my co-hosts, Chris, actually had this point where it doesn't necessarily follow the overall plot of Crisis. And I said, yeah, but it follows the basic premise of Crisis on Infinite Earths. The worlds are being destroyed, even shows Earth 3. And actually, it's kind of funny. It's a better Flash movie than The Flash. It's way better. Oh, my God. The one thing I will give it a ding on, it's not necessarily the movie itself's fault. The animation is like really stiff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's my one ding on that.
Yeah, I mean that's why I've never really gotten into the Tomorrowverse stuff. Is the animation looks like crap. I'm sorry. But
the funny part is a few people were like, what if they do Superman with Wonder Woman in the movies? Because here's my little thing here. And I saw this fantastic other tweet. I've been seeing some very entertaining tweets. Someone said, Superman with Lois is so overplayed at this point. Give us something new. And I was like, well, there's an entire comic book series called Superman and Wonder Woman that is new, that I have graded and signed in my room.
So,
yes, I am showing off. I am showing off.
That is pretty awesome. But let's kind of move on to
cool.
All right, let's do this other topic first before we get into kind of the big mini topic. All right. So we're a bit behind this one, but I still wanted to bring it up. So, Jared, did you hear about the kid that beat Tetris?
I saw it on Twitter, but I didn't know that much information about it.
Chris, you probably more knowledgeable about this than I am. Could you explain it to everybody?
Well, Tetris was designed by a Soviet back in the 80s, given its name because of the 4 pieces or squares.
In Soviet Russia, you do not beat Tetris. Tetris beats you.
Yeah. Niet. No, Tetris is a hard ass game, dude. Like
I love it. I love that game.
It's kind of like playing Rubik's Cube, but with a shot clock that's going measured in milliseconds. And it gets harder and harder.
It's the Rubik's Cube from hell.
Yeah, considering that's anybody, like let alone a kid, like that's, dude, my hat's off to him. But like anybody beating Tetris is a feat within itself.
And that's great. But the thing that really pissed me off is a newscaster was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, but maybe go touch grass. Maybe you should go out." Like it literally, literally stuff we hear in Fox News in 2005. Yep. Like he is giving 20 years old, out of date. Like seriously, this kind of rhetoric is just Sorry,
But
it
Nick,
boils my
haven't
blood.
you heard that kids are being trained to kill on Call of Duty?
Murder Simulator.
Every time I see that, I respect Fox News more, less and less, and I already don't respect
I
them.
mean, according to Fox News, Mass Effect is a intimacy
It's a-
simulator in which you can simulate in any position imaginable.
According to it, it's a corn game, and I'm using corn because it's YouTube. But I'm like, you clearly didn't play the game.
Mass
Clearly.
Effect has like the most PG sex scenes ever.
It doesn't even show boobs or anything.
No.
Maybe,
that
maybe
reporter.
on the side a little bit, but no.
Well, and they actually edited it so you don't even get to see butt anymore.
Yeah,
Remember
I know.
what's her
So I'm
face?
like, what are you doing? What are you talking about here?
I think
Yeah.
the funniest thing about this is that the newscaster said, "Oh yeah, that's nice and all, but beating Tetris isn't a life accomplishment or something like that." And I'm like, he's 15. He's got the rest of his life ahead of him. He's got more time on this earth than you do, lady.
Wait, Nick.
That kid will be remembered for centuries.
Nick,
after
he
this
puts
woman
it on
is
his
suspected.
resume. He puts it on his resume. I have problem-solving skills. I beat Tetris.
Like,
Yeah.
wait. He says you have problem-solving skills. Prove it. I beat Tetris. All right, we're hiring you for the NSA
Yeah.
just because you beat Tetris.
You can become the new
Welcome to NORAD.
CEO of the company.
Yeah. Well, the way the reporter came off though was like one of those like jealous girlfriends. You know, the ones that hate video games, but like their boyfriends. He's playing it instead of like talking to me. And it's she basically dumps on the kid's accomplishments because she's not into it, so therefore it's an irrelevant pursuit. You know what I mean? It's like
Well,
it doesn't
yeah.
interest her, so it's dumb.
And this is nothing new because you've always had lame brain journalists talking about anything they're clearly not educated on, like comic books, like movies, like gaming, like anime. And I'm like, until you actually watch the stuff, if you're the way I see it is that if you have the power to sway people's minds, if you don't experience the
Batman's
product,
cape is some sort of wing tech that somehow magically is able to cover his butt.
yeah, exactly. And-
Chris got the joke. Chris got it. Chris got
And,
Strategic butt
and according to Bruce Timm, it attracts all the Batgirls.
Yeah.
Yeah, too.
But oh god, what was I gonna say?
Apparently, if when you're playing Hitman, if you kill the strippers, it's promoting violence of women. Yet somehow in that clip, you can see point totals going down.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had Jack Thompson back in the day.
I mean,
We
it's
had
like
all
easy.
these dumbasses that are just, they don't care about the medium. And here's the thing: is like that reporter has no excuse. I mean, she's in our generation. Our generation, or my generation, grew up with video games all the way from the NES upwards. Like,
Anyone from Gen X on downwards has no excuse.
exactly.
Even if Gen X wasn't raised with video games, if they were around it enough to know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's nothing new. I mean, I literally, and what they ignore conveniently, I did when I was homeschooled. This is how awesome homeschooling was. I could write on whatever the hell I want. So I did a project on how first-person shooters actually improve surgeons' ability to do their job. And because it's like I would be like hanging out with my mom and doing stuff, and then I'll point out like minute details. She's like, "How did you see that?" I'm like, "On Call of Duty, I have to pick up snipers in a very concealed area," and she's like, "Well," it got to the point where she called playing video games homework. She'd be like, Go play your games now."
I'm sorry, but if you are a raid leader in an MMO,
Oh god.
you like those are skills that you
That's
can
a manager.
directly transfer, like, because that is management skills. Like that is like how to handle
Oh, it is.
large groups. Like literally, you could put I managed raids in World of Warcraft, and I think that's a legitimate thing to put on a resume.
Did you see the meme where someone put D&D on the resume by saying, I met regularly with colleagues to engage in problem-solving sessions?
I mean, that's kind of a joke. Like, you take game stuff and you kind of translate it into, like, professionalese kind of stuff. Like,
It's so easy, too, if you know the right language.
like coordinated 40 people into accomplishing a weekly objective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
You're a producer. Congratulations.
Yeah. And it's like, I thought that as time goes on, and as more people got used to this stuff, we like this kind of stuff would go away.
Yeah.
But I was proven wrong.
And do you know why, Nick? It's because these people just are grasping at relevancy. That's all it is.
That
Well,
really
speaking
is.
of grasping at relevancy,
Oh, geez.
so according to Chris's favorite video game company of all time,
Say it ain't so, Chris.
in which it was which was his favorite employer ever. A person from Ubisoft said, not necessarily as a quote, but pretty much said, gamers need to get used to not owning your games. I'm going to break protocol. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I got an entire closet full of games that you can go touch grass, sir.
Yep. Well, that's the problem is when games went from a product to a service, we've ceded all agency from the customer and placed back, like basically gave it all to the merchant. And as a result, like there was a big at the Game Developers Conference at GDC, there was this one year where this guy had this big speech and they were all using it. Like everybody in the industry was using it as like a prime example of something we should be following. And it was called turning players into payers. And the whole recurring fee and all this stuff, yeah, it's garbage and it's completely anti-consumer. And here's the thing, there's a meme going around that was actually sent that showed, I think they sent it to Ubisoft, where they were talking about, well, you know, players don't technically own the games. Well, then I guess it's not piracy.
I mean, yeah, if what is it? If buying is not owning the game, then piracy is not theft or whatever it is.
Yep.
And it's just there's an honestly it's increasingly becoming apparent that what gamers want and what the industry wants is two very big diverging paths.
Mhm.
It is very
I
clear.
mean, we all know everyone wanted Starfield.
So sorry, Derek succumbed to cringe. But no, the industry wants to move in a direction of everything digital. Everything is a license. We can revoke your game. We can change everything at a whim. And I feel like the audience is increasingly not like, yes, digital is convenient, but I think we are very, very quickly heading into a wall where I don't.
There's only so much the audience can take. The other thing is like, here's the problem from the Xbox perspective is that it used to be when you buy the game, you pop in the disc and you're good to go. Now you actually have to install it. So even if you get the physical copy of the game now, if they revoke your game like a billion on the Xbox, even if you have the disc, you can't play it.
Yep.
I mean, not only that, but even if you purchase a digital video off of a service like, let's say PlayStation, they can just remove it whenever they want.
That is why. Yeah. That's why I have a physical copy of the Snyder Cut, because I was convinced that eventually DC was going to do something stupid because it's Warner Brothers in DC. So I was like, I got to get a physical copy, and this is the advantage of physical media. Yeah, Jared, it takes up sense.
Let's see it. Show it to us
first.
Oh,
yes,
you got it?
It takes up space, but what you make up for it when you have a collection of DVDs, they can't break into your house and start editing crap.
Yep.
Yeah, like they've done that on Disney Plus a couple of times.
Yep.
Suck it, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is not going to be able to take that away from him. Also, Ned Shorts.
I plan on getting another one.
Well, this is my like the canary in the coal mine for me was when you stopped allowing players to host multiplayer games. you really screwed players. Like, I don't like the idea that you can have your account banned for cheating or swearing or offensive language. And the reason why
did you hear it recently happened on Xbox or with Overwatch?
What?
Jared, pull up the guy banned from Overwatch for saying GG. Just pull up that article, please.
What?
Yeah,
for good game?
Oh, you haven't heard? I mean, this is Blizzard, so it's like if you look it up, the guy, yes, Keely. If I had that clip, I would say it.
Oh,
But
good
second Warner
God.
Brothers.
And
Well-
nice shot. Wow.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't care what somebody says in an online game. Players have the agency to decide who they don't.
Chris, check
interact
this
with.
out.
Yeah, that
Like,
this
the
is
guy
an
said
advertisement
some
not
of
to buy
those
Blizzard games.
benign crap. Like he
Yeah.
said, like I hope when we meet again as allies.
Well, here's the thing. Like, say he said the most offensive crap in the world. He still doesn't deserve to have the $70 or $60 or whatever he spent get stolen from him. Like,
a lot
No.
of these people have never experienced late 2000s
yeah,
Xbox,
the
Call of
lobbies.
Duty chat, and it shows.
No. And here's the other thing. It's like, and then the problem is they
Never
ban
before
people like
have I
this.
experienced so many ways people have been told that they've screwed my mom.
No, this is theft.
Well-
This is overreach and theft.
Yeah, it is. And here's the other thing is that they let, like, in terms of the banning, dude, this guy gets banned, but have you seen League of Legends chats?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
God, the rage.
They make
yeah.
no effort to clean that up.
And they shouldn't, because like you as the customer or as the player have the ability to go in and say that guy was an asshole, mute and block.
Yeah,
You know,
that's it.
Hey,
And
we
if
have to
you
do that.
have the ability to mute and block someone, then guess what? You shouldn't be banned off of anything.
I mean, this is
Exactly.
why most online chatter is done in private lobbies nowadays. Like, there's a reason why public chats aren't really a thing anymore in online games.
Yeah,
It's because of the
the
toxicity.
Gestapo comes in.
I mean, that's kind of a natural reaction. That's
The
fine.
game Gestapo.
Yeah, the
GameStop.
GameStop.
Power to the players.
Power to the players.
You are hiding the trolls under the floorboards, aren't you?
Oh my God, Keely's.
Oh my gosh, Chris, you inglorious bastard.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Next, you're gonna tell us you're gonna implement a Circle of Life program.
Oh man, if we're talking about hunting the GameStop, I gotta get my baseball bat out and whack it on the tunnel as they
Right
approach.
now, movie theater, we're talking about video games. So
Same thing applies though, kind of.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's everything, dude. Like that, we have ceded all of our consumer rights to the corporations. Like, oh, your end user license agreement. If you actually read those stupid things, they say we are granting you a revocable at any time without notice license to access the product that you just paid for. And it's like, no, I don't agree with that. Like, that's stupid. I bought this.
Yeah.
It's like
and,
it's essentially like you buy a product and then you have to have their permission to play a product that you already bought.
Could you imagine that with a car? You bought a car, and then all of a
you
sudden
can't download a car.
Yeah, no, the corporation. You put your key in the ignition in the corporation because it's all smart car now and crap. You know they'll do that.
Oh, they're heading that
Chris-
way. Trust me,
Yeah,
they're trying.
And Chris,
Yep.
that's called downloadable content.
yeah.
I mean, we're getting to the point where people are jailbreaking cars. Like
Yep.
that is how. Like there is I don't know if you heard. There is kind of an underground scene of people jailbreaking Teslas or these EVs.
Mhm.
Oh, they're jailbreaking cars.
Yeah. Well, because
Like
they
that's,
can be
that's what we're
remotely.
getting.
Well, cars can now. So the EV cars can be remotely controlled, like what happened to supposedly quote unquote wink wink nudge nudge Ellen DeGeneres ex was it Portia or no, not Portia, Anne Heche. You know, if you've ever seen that video, it'll keep you up at night. It's scary as hell.
Why?
The thing is you can now have your car remotely terminated. So the EVs can be remotely controlled, But the non-EVs, cars made after like 2012, 2014 or something, have a remote termination switch in it. They said it's to allow law enforcement to shut your car off if they're chasing you.
Remember when
Orwellian.
Apple actually had balls that when the government told them we will want to break into this person's phone?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing they don't tell you about. The NSA already had backdoors into the Apple
Yep.
phones. It's just they wanted the legal right to do so. Like they
Yep.
wanted easier
Visibility.
access. Like they were able to do it. Like
Mhm.
and that they did it. I think like after the whole thing died down, they just did it anyway.
Mhm.
But Apple got their PR when like, hey, we stood up the government. No, the government already
Yeah.
had access.
Yeah. but
You
but as
secretly
far
already
as-
gave them access.
Exactly. But like what this means though is one good solar flare and you own nothing. You will be back in the caveman days. Like
Mhm.
there's
Oh, no.
That is
like,
a very and people don't realize that is a very real threat.
Yep.
According to Nick, that was his childhood
Oh my god.
in the caveman times. Right? He was riding dinosaurs
Serenity
I
now.
had to build my first Toyota in a cave.
with a bunch of scraps, and it was being pulled by a tiny triceratops.
Oh my god.
Hey, Skeetle and Deedle were reliable. They were
And then what you
reliable
don't know
people.
is that Nick was so excited to drive his new Tricera car that he drove it outside, and then both Triceratops got immediately eaten by a T-Rex.
What, his feet? Like,
They were 2 days from retirement. Okay.
Yeah, there were 2 days. So wait,
Two old
you got 2 old-ass Triceratops to pull your car?
They were hand-me-downs. Okay. My dad used them for about 20 years, and these were supposed to be my starter ones, but obviously didn't last that long.
So so they're from the Garden of Eden then?
About a little bit after that, but yeah.
Man, Nick, you've been around the earth a few times.
Let's just say that Kane was a mean basketball player.
Oh, no. Was he with the shirts or the
He,
blouses?
he really knew how to rock the joint.
Yeah.
Did he play with some boulders?
Yeah.
Wait,
Balls didn't
Oh
bounce.
yes.
now let me ask you this, Nick. Whenever he would score, did he go, "The boulder just scored"?
And Abel really knew how to just get it right to the head.
Yeah.
So he was able to get it right to the head, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
God.
I love making fun of Nick being old.
I mean, why do you
gonna
think
stay
I'm so
quiet.
smart? I've directly eaten from the fruit of knowledge.
Nice.
But wait, wasn't that a bad thing?
Guilt humanity.
Read the You're the reason why sin is
Yeah.
in the world, you dick!
We're the reason why there's mortality.
I
now.
mean,
Damn.
so Eve passed the apple to Adam, and then he passed it to me.
Wait, so you
You-
had...
It
wait,
was crunch, pass.
Wait, so you had a
On the
hand-me-down
left-hand side.
apple too? Man, no wonder the earth is disgusting. Man.
Actually, it's an apricot, but yeah.
All right, so you heard it here, folks. Here's a Phoenix Press exclusive. Nick is the reason why humanity is doomed.
Oh God.
I mean, I was the original. I was the person who did the first unboxing video in the history of man. If you get what I mean. Me and my girlfriend, Pandora.
Yeah,
You're
all the woes.
mixing stories here, Nick.
I'm old. Remember, I am all the stories.
Okay, you keep telling yourself that Grandpa.
Damn you kids, get off my lawn.
That's good.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. I was at the Roman Forum, and they were really planning to stick it to Julius Caesar. I tell you what.
And then what you didn't know is that that's where Nick invented Caesar salad dressing.
Ooh. A2 Nikkei?
Hey, dude, okay? And that's also where Nike. Wait.
No. I certainly took a stab at it.
Well, here's the other
Oh.
thing. Nike is actually named after Nick. That's what they used to call him in the ancient times.
No, they called me Converse.
No, they didn't.
How do you know that?
I've read the source material.
Well,
I am the source material.
No, you're not.
the tablets.
The
No,
tablet.
But
But anyway,
going back to the
yes.
the you will own nothing thing, the Ubisoft there, like,
What a brain dead statement.
dude, the scary thing is they it's kind of like that chick that got all the flack for talking about the new Snow White. You know, they're like, oh, she's so dumb and blah 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 blah. Dude, she's not saying anything that the Disney people that made that awful movie weren't, pushing. And that's probably the same thing with this Ubisoft guy. Like, this whole industry has become so anti-consumer that they want you to be 100% plugged in online for even single-player games.
As far as the Rachel Zegler stuff is confirmed,
Mm.
I believe he kind of went a bit, like they gave her coaching, but I believe he went a little bit overboard.
Oh,
Judging
yeah.
by the fact that like they gave her like the media training, and then like she came back into that review with the not Ariel, and like, oh, I love Snow White, like the Disney had
Yep.
like their oh shit
You're probably like,
moment.
shut up, shut up,
Yeah.
shut up.
So I believe that like they kind of told her some stuff to say, but she kind of took it a little bit too far. Because honestly, Rachel Zegler kind of strikes me as autistic a little bit. Like Brie Larson also strikes me as a little bit autistic,
Oh, yeah.
to be honest. Like I'm sure if I met either of them, they're probably pleasant enough people,
I don't think
Um,
either
so-
of them would talk to me.
I'm sure if I was in
What
a
they would
green
do
room
is
with
they
Brie
would talk
Larson,
to Nick and they would ask Nick about what their grandparents were like in the olden days.
Oh, God.
All right, Nick, share my screen real quick. Look what just got confirmed. Just start filming.
Oh, Tron 3.
yeah, Tron Ares. I need to see more of that, like because I really want a sequel to Tron Legacy, but it's a Jared Leto vehicle, so like,
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
But they're calling
Quit
it
giving
Tron
him work,
3.
Hollywood.
Yeah. It's Morbin time.
I'm waiting for more information, but yeah, I'm probably as much as I talk about Ton. It's like when Golden Sun got announced.
Did
Like,
you
hey,
say
Nick, Golden
Ton?
Sun here.
Yeah.
You just said Ton.
Frick off.
But the other thing, do you know what that Ubisoft statement reminded me of?
What's that?
What?
That stupid Blizzard dude that said, you don't want that.
Oh, yeah. You think you do,
wait,
but you don't.
That's exactly,
And
by
I
the way.
love J. Allen Brack, who is like the biggest idiot ever. I do love that he is the one who had to announce Classic. Like that is some divine retribution. Right
Well, the other thing is this was part of the marketing for Halo 4. You ready? This is part of the official marketing. They did
Halo
they did
marketing.
they did a series. So they were trying to do all behind the scenes stuff. Here's what we're doing with Halo 4, how we're improving it. And then they said a lot of people
Hey, Blackwell.
we get a lot of stuff saying the fans want a classic Halo experience. They may think that's what they want, but that's not what they actually want.
Jared,
Oh.
have you seen what the lead actor for Master Chief has been saying?
Yes, and this makes me want to say, okay, I'm gonna glue that I'm gonna weld that helmet to your head.
All right, tell us what the guy's been saying. Apparently, he's not a fan of Halo. First.
So remember,
Ah!
I got
What the-
for context. This is in response to the whole Chief takes off his helmet like a spaz. So originally, it was season 1. He said the way he said it. Pablo Schreiber has not expressed the whole helmet thing well. Like last time he said anything was he said, well, there's no rule about in universe about the Chief keeping his helmet on like in Mandalorian. I said there's a fan rule. But then he opens his mouth again. And then he says, you can't really have a compelling story arc with unless you can see the character's face because you get the
Dread!
Well, someone brought up Dread. The next comment, Nick, on that tweet was literally, please see this: Darth Vader, Mandalorian,
Kamen
Dread.
Rider, Super Sentai.
Exactly. And I'm like, dude,
Oh, my God.
what the hell did you? What?
This is clearly somebody that doesn't know anything about the source material.
He claims he does, but he doesn't. I'm using game industry terms there.
See, here's what I really don't get. Kind of getting back to it's going good. It's just my blood pressure is going up.
That's what happens when you get old.
Here's what I don't get. Okay, what compels an Ubisoft exec to say something so wild? Like they have to know that that's going to get a huge amount of backlash. Like, why are like?
And the problem with that, Nick, real quick, is that you're saying it at a time when it's not when the fans are already very angry at this industry, and you're just saying stuff. Oh, this won't piss them off again.
No, dude, like this is what blew my mind when I first got into the industry back in 2004. Okay, I thought, because I worked in blue collar work, I worked as a pressman, I worked as a billiard supply delivery person, I worked with a bunch of blue collars. And these guys were great people. Unfortunately, I had nothing in common with them because anytime they started talking about sports, it turned into Charlie Brown's parents for me. So I was like, holy crap, I am yeah. I felt like the B girl in that Blind Melon video, No Rain, where like she opens the gate and she's now in a prairie.
I'm not going to repeat the rest of it.
Yeah, she's now in a prairie filled with her people. I thought I was among my people when I entered the industry. And no, I couldn't be further. Like, these people were too cool for school. They hated like a lot of the video game developers, especially the concept artists and a lot of the art team people were like, I'm only using this as a stepping stool to get into movies. Like,
we've literally seen the same thing in comics. Like, remember, Jared, like we're talking with Chuck Dixon, and he said, like, basically comics used to be the end game. Like, your whole
Marvel
career,
and DC, yeah.
And now Marvel and DC is like, oh, I'll work at Marvel and DC for like 5 years, and then I'll go be a script writer, or I'll go write for Vanity Fair. It's like,
yeah.
And then you have people who come in and they don't care about continuity, they don't care about lore. They're just here for 5 years anyway. So they make it just makes it, honestly, knowing that all the crap of the last 15 years just makes a lot of sense.
Well, these same people have an insane disdain for their customers. Like, I've heard some of, like, again, these are business people, and it blows my mind how they like absolutely dump all. They're like, they're all fat and gross and stink, and they drink Mountain Dew and like all this crap, like just totally like denigrating the people that are paying for them, essentially keeping the lights on in their company. And I'm like, I was a community manager for a while, and I'm sitting there trying to translate what these horrible people in the industry were trying to communicate to the community. And a lot of the times I'm like, I can't tell people this, dude. You're going to have to figure out a better way. Like you're going to have to figure out why we're not informing them of our products, or why we're implementing this feature or making this business decision. Because I'm not going to go in front of a bunch of angry foreign people who are righteously indignant. I mean, these are people who financed this project, who are voicing their opinion, and basically tell them, yeah, we're going to shut down the forums because we don't like what people are saying.
And here's the thing. If the video game industry wanted to get rid of crunch, they could do it with very little effort. Crunch, and I think you agree with me, Chris, crunch is the result of poor planning.
It totally is. It's mismanagement, poor planning. And I'll tell you right now, 90% or 99% of the producers, these are the people who are managing your teams. These are the people that like write up schedules, draft up development cycles, all this stuff. These people are worthless. Like I said, I've met maybe a very small handful of producers that I'm like, wow, like you got my respect, man. I don't know how you can, wrangle these
and the
cats.
problem is the people who are actually good at their jobs, the people who actually care about them, they are so easy, like they so quickly weeded out.
Yep. Yeah. And not only that, but like they get undermined. Like this happened at one of the companies, actually the Ubisoft one. Like I had this producer guy, Mark, who like, great guy. He's like, dude, I got your back. If you got sick coming back from Tokyo, just take a week off. I'd rather you just stay at home and recover than come in here, get everybody sick and work suboptimally. I'm like, that's a good, it's like, I will adjust our schedule to basically accommodate for this. And I'm not going to ask you to come in on weekends, crunch, we're not going to need to do that yet. We might need to if more of these things happen, but dude, this was unplanned. It's out of your control. And I was like, oh, thank God, man. And there was, just communication, planning, and a roadmap, a direct roadmap, instead of the J.J. Abrams approach where they just make it up as they go along. This is what we want to do in 4 years. And here is every week that you need to have deliverables. Here's what we need for this week. Here's what we need for this week. And I'm like, amen, brother. That is a strong, it is
not that hard.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I do it with my comics. I'm like, okay, before I even, I sit down with my artist, okay, we're expecting the inks here, the pencils here, the finish here. We're expecting this many pages a week. Updates are going to be on this day at this time.
Yep.
We allow some fudge in there, okay, it's supposed to be at 9, but it's supposed to be at 11. Okay, fine. Or I build in, the shit happens kind of time, because of course, but that's still planning. I allow fudging to where I don't have to crunch because I've already planned for the, oh crap, I'm going to have to delay. It's not that hard.
Yeah. And meanwhile, they get these producers who are sitting there watching Comedy Central on on company time and are chatting it up and are pulling these little office politics, catty little games and sabotaging people and putting their SJW crap in there. And it's like, dude, I just want to do my job. I'm not here for an episode of Mean Girls.
Yeah, I do wonder how much
Mean gamers.
longer people are going to put up with this stuff, because I feel like we're just five years away from game industry workers trying to unionize.
Oh, it'll never happen because there's more supply than there is demand.
I don't know, because I feel like the demand is going to dry up at some point, because the word will come down that it's a crappy job. I don't know. Maybe that's me being hopeful. I
got news for you. What's the message, Sergeant? I got news for you. I wouldn't be surprised if the fan base starts rejecting eventually goes, okay, you know what? I have the old stuff. I don't need any new games, and then just cuts these companies off.
Yeah,
I do have a prediction. And let's do so basically. I'll use that as a segue to kind of go to what to look forward to in 2024. Now, here's the thing.
Wheel of Time.
Microsoft has basically bet the farm with Game Pass, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of game companies are complaining that it is cutting into their revenue.
Yep.
I don't think Game Pass will pan out.
Well,
I
Nick,
think they're going.
That's the same. It's the same idea of let's release a movie this day and date on streaming as well as theaters. That's not going to hurt us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why go to a theater if you can just watch it on your 55-inch HD TV,
You don't have to worry about people taking kids to a to a horror movie and you hearing crying all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the thing is, Microsoft is plenty polite, and Epic is not a sustainable business model. They do their free games, and they still have barely made a dent. Once the Fortnite money runs out, and I think the Fortnite train is probably going to be crashing here in the next year or so.
Mm-hmm.
Once that Fortnite money runs out, Epic is not going to be able to sustain all the crap they're doing. And they're going to survive because of their engine, but once they're not flush with Fortnite cash, that'll be really interesting. But also Game Pass, I don't really see surviving in the next 5 years.
Yep.
But coming to this year. So my big thing is Switch 2 is going to be released this year. And that's going to be really interesting because I don't Chris, have you seen some of the leaked specs of the Switch 2?
I've spoken to people who worked for the company, and I don't know how much of it has changed since it was originally codenamed the Super Switch.
Is Nick drinking blue milk?
No, I'm drinking water.
And by the way,
nice. Out of my Legend of Zelda glass.
Nice.
Literally,
By the
this
way,
glass
Nick,
I've been drinking out of all the streams are Legend of Zelda. So.
By the way, Nick, scroll
Nice.
up to Master Sergeant's comment above about the last DC movie because I love the way he labels Thor: Love and Thunder.
No, I have to do Dave the Impalers.
All right,
Dave, bravo.
Yeah.
Yep. Amen.
I love how he says last MCU movie was Thor's Butt Thunder.
Oh.
That is so good.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, same
me.
here.
Like I had a Switch, and then I basically sold it all and bought a Steam Deck, and I have like a gaming laptop. It's great. Yeah, but like Chris, what are some of the specs that you saw for the Switch 2?
So I don't know what has changed since R&D, because the last person that I spoke to about it, it was still in the R&D phase.
Mhm.
But calling it the Switch 2 might actually be beneficial because the theme is going to be 2, and they're basically trying to do a foldable screen that's actually two
So
screens.
basically, Switch DS.
Yeah, it's going to be a DS, or at least from what I remember hearing. And again, this is all take it with a huge grain of salt because half of it sounds like BS to me. But essentially, what they'll do is they'll have like I think they're getting away with or changing drastically the whole Joy-Con thing because that was just an ergonomic disaster and nobody it
Yeah.
was overpriced. They failed. It was cheap. It was crap. So instead, what it will be is you will have this foldable like almost like a giant freaking phone that you can dock into a controller and play like a controller with it on, like a mobile controller, or you can dock it into your TV and it's basically, it functions just like the normal Switch does, but it will have a lot more horsepower. And they're saying that it will be comparable to the PS4 Pro in terms of graphical fidelity.
Well,
which
the
in my
other thing to
opinion-
note is, but the other thing is, from what I hear, they're kind of backporting a lot of DLSS, a lot of like the DLSS tech that's in like the fourth 4000 series.
Mhm.
They're backporting to the Switch, so you'll have PS4 Pro specs, but you also have DLSS, which I think could really help bridge the gap between the Switch and modern consoles.
Yeah, well, one of Nintendo's development philosophies, actually, they have multiple ones. Some of them I really admire. Some of them I kind of scratch my head at.
With their tech with like art, or I'm trying to remember what it is.
Well,
It goes all the way back to Gunpei Yokoi.
Well, one of them is never sell your console at a loss. Nintendo is the only console manufacturer that has sold every one of their consoles at a profit. Xbox and Sony sell their consoles at a loss, and they make up their money in sales service revenue from recurring services, i.e. Xbox Live, and from software sales because they take a percentage of every game that gets sold on it. But they also have one where they innovate, or what they refer to as, was it the Kaizen? I don't know. Basically, what it is every console hardware generation needs to have a reason to exist, meaning there needs to be something that sets it aside from the previous console other than horsepower. So there needs to be a gimmick, like the Switch had the dock and the mobile, the DS had the double screen.
I think the phrase is lateral thinking with withered technology.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, I don't like the novelty will be the foldable screen. So I don't know if that's what I mean.
I don't know if
Honestly, as long as they get there's no problems with the controllers like the Joy-Cons had, where they just start to drift and there was no way to fix them.
Yeah, it's like $70 for those things too.
Yeah, it's like I already paid $70, $90 if you're Canadian for the games. Hundreds for the system. Why do I have to go and pay almost as much for the controllers as I would if I just went and got like
and here's the thing. I think the thing that'll really make or break the Switch 2 is backwards compatibility. It's because there's a lot of people who have invested heavily into the Switch ecosystem. And so I think they're going to have, I think probably what they're going to do is like, how with like the 3DS games, they have like that notch on the side. I think they're going to do that with the carts where it's like, so you can put like a Switch game or like a Switch 2 game into the same cart, into the same port. And then you can also transfer over all your digital stuff, because if that does not happen, people are just going to stick with the Switch.
Well, the new controller essentially, instead of the Joy-Cons that I saw, was basically a docking mechanism. So kind of like how the Dreamcast had the you could slide the whatever the MCUs,
The VMUs.
the VMUs into the Dreamcast controller, and you can play on that screen. What they'll do is they'll have this single entity dock that frames the foldable screen. You slide it in and click, and now you've got the controller on both sides of the screen, and you're playing it like a mobile system. And then you can pull it out and slide it into the home dock, and bam, it's on your TV. And supposedly there'll be like all sorts of touch technology as well. But
the thing I want to note is there was a shakeup, but you also got to realize Iwata's not here anymore. Like, this is the first console that was developed without Satoru Iwata involved. Because like Satoru Iwata, the Switch was basically his swan song. He passed away, I think, a few years into the Switch's life cycle. So he had nothing to do with this console. Or so it's just like it'll be really interesting.
Gunpei Yokoi's baby, but
no, Gunpei Yokoi died in '97.
No, I'm sorry. Who is the guy that was shilling the Switch?
Well, the thing is, they did have the new CEO who is a bit more, I believe, a bit more money focused. Shigeru Miyamoto is basically he's kind of basically their Stan Lee, and he does like. I'm gonna give you a hot take, okay? When it comes to Nintendo, I believe Shigeru Miyamoto is holding back Nintendo at this point. I know it's blasphemous.
Blasphemy.
Thank you. But the problem with Shigeru Miyamoto is he has this like hard-on for every game that needs to have a gimmick. Like, that's why Star Fox Zero came out like it is, because it has to have like, that's why we haven't got a new F-Zero. Every game has to have like this new innovative gimmick in order to justify its existence. You can't just do a new version of an old game and make it really great. Now, granted, Nintendo has gotten used to the remake game, like the whole remake stuff. They've gotten more used to that idea. But like, yes, Master Sergeant, I did. Yeah, Master Sergeant is right. Like, but yeah, I'm
forgetting. I can't remember the whoever the guy was that was sitting on the couch during the E3 with the Switch with the Joy-Con in his hand. You know what I'm talking about?
Which year?
When the Switch was first announced, is the guy that was shilling the Joy-Con.
Well, if you're talking about Reggie Fils-Aimé, he retired a few years ago.
This is a Japanese guy.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the guy that's heading this development, and for the life of me, his name just fell out of my head because I have senility. But
yeah, I don't know it either. But he's been there for a while, so it should be.
Yeah, fine. but basically though, I would be interested to see the numbers of people who use Pro controllers with the Switch when it's in docked mode versus people who use actual Joy-Cons.
I'm willing to bet it's over 50%.
I would bet that too, because that would lead to why they're redesigning.
The Pro controller is actually a really good controller. Like, it's actually a very, very nicely done controller. Like, it feels amazing in the hands. It feels amazing to use. Like anybody who's held a Pro controller will be like, holy crap, this feels nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why they're redesigning the Switch too, to move away from those awful little Joy-Cons. Because those things, like, seriously, for the amount of money they're asking for, these things are cheap pieces of crap.
They are.
Yeah, and like a lot of the features that like Nintendo, like like the whole tablet mode, or like not many people use the feature. Like, it's either you have it portably or it's stocked. That's only really like the main feature people use it for. Cool. And I think they're going to continue that, but like a lot of the extra stuff, I don't think they're going to do.
Oh, I think it's Yoshiaki Koizumi.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the problem with the Switch 2 is we're seeing the rise of PC handhelds. Like, those are becoming a thing. Obligatory show off my Steam Deck.
And there's like
It's
cloud gaming now, where I could game an Xbox game on my phone now.
Yep.
Yeah, and you got the controllers, like the backbone. where you can just like put a controller onto your phone, you know. And then like obviously stuff like the Steam Deck exists, the ROG Ally, and this market is just gonna flourish. Like the whole handheld PC market, like it has proven itself, and it's just gonna get even more like even bigger as time goes on, you know.
Yeah, I can't wait to see, like, because they recently came out with Steam Deck OLED.
Yeah,
I want to see like Steam Deck 8K or what, you know what I mean? Like the third or fourth generation, because we're seeing a first generation hardware. It doesn't get good until like the third or fourth generation.
I mean the Switch, the Steam Deck is great.
Oh, it's amazing. But could you imagine what that's going to be like when they can cut costs to make production cheaper and then make
I gotta say, like the thing I prefer the Steam Deck to the Switch because it's just a lot more comfortable.
Yeah,
the Switch is actually really uncomfortable to hold. The Switch was not made for adult hands. Like look at like these grips. You know, it's like plus it's like really great because like I'm fat and like I can just be on the couch and resting it easily on my stomach, and it's just really freaking comfortable.
But like you could have extended use and not get like a hand cramp or carpal tunnel off of it.
Exactly. Also, like the Steam Deck does like this is a Wii U. This is a Wii U tablet right here. Like you also got to think is the Steam Deck owes a lot to the Wii U because if like you know like look at the Wii U, like remember like the Wii U tablet, like it almost looks exactly the same.
Yep.
But yeah, so what games are you guys looking forward to this year?
I know Nick is gonna give me hell for this, but Suicide Squad killed the Justice League because I'm a big Arkham fan, and I'm looking.
Well, we know you don't have taste, so.
Oh damn!
No.
No, I backed a Kickstarter game called Mandragora. It's imagine Diablo, but instead of it being over top-down view game, it's like a Metroidvania.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, supposedly that'll come out this year. Fingers crossed.
But also in terms of general stuff I'm looking forward to, I hesitate to say Halo Season 2, but I kind of want to because it's like a car wreck that you can't look away from. You really just want to see the fiery explosion.
This is what I'm looking forward to probably the most right here.
Nick, by the way, did you see the actor who plays Master Chief? He also said, I thought the Chief having a romantic relationship with the Covenant spy was a mistake. Sure you did.
So Chris, do you know what you're looking at?
Dweeb?
So they're remaking Suikoden 1 and 2, and it's like got like new like effects and whatnot. MSK, how you doing? And yeah, I'm really excited for this. Because like Suikoden is really expensive on the PlayStation 1. Like Suikoden 2 is like a couple $100. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey MSK,
wow.
you want to come on the stream? Let me know. I'll send you the link, and you can tell us. MSK, I will send you the link.
Dude, you're on thin ice.
I will send you the link. You can put Jared in his place.
I will find him.
God.
Matt, have you played through all of the Suikoden games?
I played some of them on emulator. They're really good.
Yeah, I think I have one on the PSP as well, like Suikoden 5 or something.
Wow. MSK, I sent you an invite link so you can come on and tell Jared personally.
Or you can finally read to Nick because he is very old.
And thank you, David. Somebody agrees with me. See, like that's a problem. Like I'm not really looking forward to many games. Like the Suikoden 1 is going to be great, but other than that, really not much of anything.
I am also looking forward to, because 343 is starting to move away from Halo Infinite, and they're starting to like build up their staff for like the new Halo game, and we could get more information on what that is. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You're a fan of 343 Studios?
No, but let me put it this way: the new regime, yes; the old regime, no. Like the old regime that promised a bunch of crap that they never intended to deliver on. The new regime came in and they just completely cleaned up that game for the most part. And it's like at this point, I kind of want to hit the reset with 343 and see what this new regime is going to do, because the current head of the studio is the one who fixed the Master Chief Collection, the game that had like the most disastrous launch in gaming history, practically.
Yep. God, the UX in that was insane.
They completely fixed it.
That's awesome.
And I think like I don't think we'll see like the kind of great gaming crash we saw in the 80s, but I do feel like we will reach a point where people get tired of like these crappy launch games. You know, like I do feel like people will be, you know, I don't know.
Well, I feel like in pop culture in general, there's going to be a big rebellion on the side of the consumer, because we constantly see all of our IPs being destroyed constantly by like social justice stuff or just general mismanagement. Eventually, someone's just going to have to say, "I'm done."
Yeah,
you don't want Scott Pilgrim to leave?
let's talk about this
peak adaptation.
Quick. Yeah.
So, who here has seen the Indiana Jones?
Trailer? Troy Baker voiced.
That's the least of its concerns, to be honest.
The very fact that part of the marketing again is them saying they want to make indies more inclusive or something like that. I remember I saw. I'm like, no. It's gotten to the point where as soon as you hear the word inclusive, you're like, nope.
See, the problem is like the trailer is like 80% cinematics, which tells you, and like when they did show it, it looks like it's very obvious they're using the Wolfenstein engine for this, which is machine game, so of course. But like it doesn't look very compelling. Like it looks, honestly, the game is probably gonna be a train wreck. Plus Todd Howard is directing this, so it's like,
oh god.
No, well, here's the thing: is Indiana Jones is a damaged, if not dead, property. I don't think there's any viability in it from a commercial perspective.
I got one.
Jones was never as popular as people thought it was. Like,
no, it never was. No,
it wasn't. And by the way, the title of the game is going to be Indiana Jones and the Wonders of Starfield.
Oh, damn.
Because how is it?
They're nice, brother. They're nice.
Yeah, no, but yeah, you're right, Nick. Like it was a decent brand, but it didn't have the draw of Star Wars, you know?
Nope.
And what happened though is they marketed it like that. They abused the property. Like there was awful. Like if you ever played Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, it was an awful freaking game. But like
Ghostbusters is a bigger IP.
Yep.
Back to the Future, look at. There's actual hype for Frozen Empire. Like that's another thing. I'm looking forward to that movie because Afterlife was triage.
It did.
That was a triage for the brand. And
Well,
they resurrected it, and now they can actually do a proper, actual new Ghostbusters movie and move forward.
On that, let's not forget we got a not so good Indiana Jones movie. So it's like, yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
But you got a previous Indiana Jones movie that did the opposite of what Ghostbusters Afterlife did.
Yep.
That movie had about the staying power of a wet fart.
Yeah. So
like, you notice how it just came in wet, and most people were like, "Oh wait." If you tell people they're releasing Indiana Jones, we're like, "Wait, they're releasing a new Indiana Jones movie last year?"
Phoebe
it's already on
Waller-Bridge
streaming.
will do that to a movie.
Yeah, she's not very.
And
appealing.
I'm sorry, but like Indiana Jones, even with its like niche fan base, it's not something you just forget. Comes out, you know.
Yeah.
I gotta pop off, but I will say I am very looking forward to the Princess Peach game coming out.
Oh yeah, the
Still
one
waiting
with
for your
the
Princess
stage.
Peach cosplay.
2 weeks, you're 2 months.
I still want to see your live reading of Avengers 200.
All right.
I gotta get to that. I'm terrible at planning, though.
Chris and Jared, I gotta step away for a second. Fill the air, please.
Sweet. Yeah, I guess I can. My
Bye-bye.
thing about. Oh, have a good one, Nix.
You too.
Bye, Nix.
Jeez. My thing is with the Frozen Empire. Like, I was a big Ghostbusters fan back in the day, like huge Ghostbusters fan, and I thought for sure that Paul Feig disaster, that feminist freaking Bridesmaids version of Ghostbusters that came out there in 2016, Answer the Call, that pretty much killed my interest in Ghostbusters. I was like, okay, I'm out. And then when they showed Ghostbusters Afterlife, I was like, whoa, okay, somebody knows what Ghostbusters is. What is this? And it turns out it was Ivan Reitman's son who like basically took it on. So Ivan Reitman was the original film's director. So it was awesome seeing his son kind of assume the mantle. And that's a good theme because it carries over into the movie where they
and
still
like
have
with
respect.
with Jason Reitman, he calls himself the first fan of Ghostbusters, and like that's actually a pretty valid title because you got to realize he was on the set of the first movie, with
Well, he
his
was
father.
in the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like him calling himself the first fan of Ghostbusters, that's not bull crap. That's actually a pretty valid claim.
But like what Ghostbusters did for movies is everybody thinks Ghostbusters is a comedy, okay? It wasn't shot like a comedy, it was shot like a horror movie.
Yeah, it was.
And that's what made it funny, is that it was the first time. It was like was it Army of Darkness or Evil Dead.
Oh my God. I love how as soon as we start talking about Ghostbusters, Peter Venkman fan club just pops
It's
up.
like Tevye and Super Sons. Watch, Tevye will show up.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Amen.
like, I think it's like the real Ghostbusters thing. They've even said that they're inspired by real Ghostbusters. So like, it's just, Afterlife did everything right, and it seems like leading into Frozen Empire, they're doing the same. Like, the old cast is still there. They're mentoring. And like, I just hope that like what's his name? The Keymaster shows up again. Like but like fact they got like the receptionist as a
Janine.
Ghostbuster. Janine as a Ghostbuster, like nobody's complaining because okay, she's a Ghostbuster. Cool.
Well, I like it because they still have reverence for the original cast. So they showed clips and I was like, oh, those are the OG Ghostbusters. Cool. But they presented in Afterlife, they presented the next generation and they presented it in a way where it was like, okay, these are cool. Like, I like these characters. Like, Podcast was funny as hell, man. And autistic Egon's granddaughter, hell yeah, dude. Like, I'm not even a feminist and I like this character,
Yeah, and then like Frozen Empire, they're literally like just kind of still doing the same thing where it's like they're still there, they're mentoring, but they're not being overshadowed.
Yeah, well, it also goes off of Winston being the financier. He's the one that's been keeping like the Ghost Core essentially, which is Ghostbuster franchise, because it goes back to something that Peter Venkman said in the first movie. The franchises alone will make us million. So they're able to like have one in Chicago and have one on the West Coast and have one in their original in New York, maybe even one in Europe or Asia or whatever. But that opens up the world to a bigger stage. I mean, we started with the 4 oddballs, or I should say the 3 oddballs in Winston, because I mean, let's face it, Winston was the everyman character. He's the one that came in and he's like, no offense, guys, I'm going to need my own lawyer on this one. When they were thrown in jail. But like, I like the fact that they've expanded the cast, keeping the originals, and the cast aren't these like throwaway, like, oh, look, it's SNL characters that are like ad-libbing and stuff. Like there's
To be fair, that was the first film.
Yeah, and I feel bad that they cut out a lot of content in Afterlife to really flesh out what's her face, the main character there, the little girl, because they showed scenes in the trailer that never made it into the film. And it further explores how socially awkward she is. She was not liked when she went to that new school. They were flinging food in her face. They were calling her like names and stuff. She was just a social outcast. And that's what made Podcasts the the Asian kid with the goggles. Like that's what made him such an enduring character. Was the fact that he was a loser too, and the two of them stuck together. They were like, they became
real
friends
quick,
after that.
Jared, I know you said you got to go. I just wanted to let you go, so you do your thing.
Of
Oh,
course.
sorry.
But no, it was awesome, dudes. But I will see you guys later, and I look forward to our next stream together. And by the way, Chris, if you want to come on Comics, so you can talk about Crisis, just let me know.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I love that stuff.
And by the way, Nick, Wheel of Time.
Oh my God, he waited till like. But yeah, we're gonna still keep going because I could see that.
Yeah, didn't Jim Belushi or John Belushi? He was supposed to be Venkman, and
I can believe
somebody made a poster of their like in an Elseworld, like a alternate reality. This is what the casting of Ghostbusters looked like. Vince Clortho was going to be played by John Candy or Louis Tully, John Candy.
I mean, you want to talk about alternate realities? Did you know, you do know that Shrek was originally supposed to be voiced by Chris Farley?
Yeah, I saw the previs footage of that. It was like a completely
and there's also
movie.
animatics where he actually did voice lines for the movie.
Yep.
Because in a different reality, that movie probably would have come out in 99, given the timeline. Just imagine Shrek coming out in 99 with Chris Farley.
Yeah. God, Farley, man, he was a legend.
Yeah. Brightest candle burns twice as fast,
Well,
that I don't know.
He was a tortured soul. They always say, was it the tears of the clown? The guy was always he had some serious demons that he was fighting, and it's a real shame because a lot of some of the greatest comedians that we've known are clinically depressed, chemical dependent, you name it.
I mean, look at Robin Williams.
Exactly.
Robin Williams is a poster child for that.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's right. Slimer, he was originally called Onion Head or something, and it was an homage to Belushi.
Oh, did you see the pictures that Slimer's back?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited because this film, it's just we can finally move forward with the franchise. We've got an all new villain.
Yep.
We got a new story. We're not going backwards. We're actually going forward with this movie.
Yep.
And that's what I'm excited about Frozen Empire. And it looks good. It's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it looks like they're balancing all the characters really well. I think it looks like they're probably going to have 2 or 3 teams of Ghostbusters by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing the Ghost Corps stuff too. They might send some of the newer characters or some of the older ones to Chicago or the West Coast or something.
Yeah, I can see that.
God, I would love to see the. Do you remember Ghostbusters Extreme?
What? She's legal.
No, yeah.
Sorry, that is the only thing that people remember from that show is that one clip.
Well, no, you had Kylie, who was this goth chick that was the whole reason why.
The other thing that people remember from it.
Well, there's that. Then there's Roland, who was they could get Alfonso Ribeiro to reprise his role as Roland, because Roland, is voiced by him and everything. But
wasn't there a paraplegic as a ghost?
Yeah,
or something?
Yeah. There was a guy in a wheelchair. I can't remember his name. He was a jock that got disabled. And then there was Eduardo, who was the Latino, but he was also the son of a cop. So it's these are. And the thing is a lot of people are I didn't like Ghostbusters Extreme. It kind of departed too much from the real Ghostbusters. I bet.
Didn't they have wasn't there a crossover with the real Ghostbusters in it or something?
Yeah. They and I beg to differ. The only Ghostbusters offering that I didn't like was Slimer in the real Ghostbusters, which was a short-lived toward the end of the Saturday morning craze, where they focused all on Slimer and he had a cat, there was a cat and some mad scientists trying to capture him.
Oh, Wait, you don't care for it, yet your profile picture is Venkman from the real Ghostbusters? I'm sorry, I'm just kind of confused. But like, yeah, real Ghostbusters really was kind of the thing that held the torch for the fandom after the movies, I'd say.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then not only that, but like they had the Lorenzo music in there, Garfield.
Oh, stand corrected.
Yeah, they had oh god, what's his face? Arsenio Hall as Winston.
And they had I also my favorite thing is for Venkman they had the voice of Garfield. And then they did the Garfield movie with that was just so fun. Like
yeah, it's like a weird it's like poetry, it rhymes.
Also, that leads into my favorite, his cameo in Zombieland. Like, do you have any regrets? Maybe Garfield.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I don't know. I am definitely looking forward to Frozen Empire. And I hope from what it showed in the trailer, which is, you can't judge a movie by the trailer these days. Look at Wonder Woman 84 that had one of the most amazingly cut trailers ever in that movie.
Oh my god! I think I remember when that trailer came out. I watched it like over and over like a bajillion times.
Yeah, how does it feel? But
that was like kind of during the trend where I don't know.
Yeah.
But
there
was kind of like a trend for like a few years in movie trailers where like they'd always use like a cover of a song in a thing where like for example Ghost in the Shell used Into the Silence, Power Rangers used a Johnny Cash song. That was kind of a trend for a few years in movies.
Yep. Oh yeah. It was like the Zack Snyder thing. They grab a song and then just make a video about that song.
Except they do it very, very poorly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other film that like I'm really looking forward to is Dune 2. I loved the first Dune, and this new one is going to be just as good. I tell you, Denis Villeneuve is probably one of the most important filmmakers out now. Like he's probably like the only one who's actually the only true auteur that has come out in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single one of his films I hated. I liked The Fifth Element. I liked what is it?
Fifth Element was 95 with Luc Besson.
Oh, I'm sorry, wrong guy.
Yeah, Luc Besson is
who did the Valerian in the City of a Thousand Doors?
Luc Besson.
Oh, okay. Why do I get those two guys confused, mixed up?
Literally, the guy who did Fifth Element did,
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I think it's like Neil Blomkamp, Denis Villeneuve are just like two of the only tour directors that have kind of emerged in like the last 10 years or so. It's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I don't know. Edgar Wright's been around a little bit longer, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, wait. So did Villeneuve do the Blade Runner 2040?
Yeah, he did Arrival. He did Blade Runner 2049, and then he did Dune. He's probably done a couple other things, but yeah. Sorry, you reminded me. What's the guy who did The Northman? He's also a really good director.
Oh yeah.
He works with the Skarsgårds a lot.
Yeah. I know who he did The Witch.
I need to see that.
I think he also did that. Was that one with Toni Collette where the little fat girl gets her head chopped off?
Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers. Yeah, he's a really good director. Like he's there's just so many like the Nosferatu movie is probably going to be really good. Beetlejuice 2, that's either going to be really good or really cringe.
I want it to be good, but the pessimist in me, after what we've endured with great film franchises being bastardized, it has me worried.
Well, if Wednesday is any indication, I think Tim Burton still has it to a certain degree. The problem is Tim Burton has kind of fallen into the trap that a lot of directors do, where they eventually fall into self-parody. Like Steven Spielberg, like, oh my god, that dude cannot direct a good movie to save his life anymore.
Nope. He's like Kevin Smith. He lost all his talent with his fat.
Well, to be fair, I think the thing with Steven Spielberg is he just doesn't care anymore. He has like all the money in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to be young and hungry.
Yeah. Either young or hungry, or like on the comeback trail.
Well, they say that only like no. What is it? Great art has to be suffered for to be created. And
Triumph is born out of struggle.
Yeah. Well, if you look at like all of the masterworks of like musicians, artists, cinematographers, filmmakers, directors, whatever, they tend to be the young and hungry. They're not usually the seasoned veterans, because the
only time you get good stuff out of the veterans is when they're on the comeback trail, when they're trying to like, for example, like Breaking Benjamin is a perfect example. Ben Burley had the fall of the band. He basically had to do like a whole lawsuit to get the rights of Breaking Benjamin. He had to like fully reform the band. And if you listen to the album Dark Before Dawn, it is amazing because it's basically Ben Burley's FU. And it's like he's kind of like reestablishing himself. And that's what I'm saying. Like when you have someone who's kind of like trying to come back, they got that hunger in them. They got the eye of the tiger.
That's insane, dude. It's not even.
I mean, I can believe it. I don't even know why he even directs anymore, because like, the dude, like his legacy has long since been secured. Like, why doesn't he just like produce? Like, I don't even know why he directs. Like, why did he have to direct Ready Player One? Like, what was the point of him directing it? Like, he added nothing to that movie, and then he directed West Side Story, and it's just he added nothing to that movie.
I think they're just using his name. I like if what Dave the Impaler is saying, that the guy's just phoning it in, like literally.
I believe it.
I think they're just like, okay, well, it's kind of like what they did with Hideo Kojima, like with what is it, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. They're like, this is a Kojima game or whatever, and then they started like backing off on that, because it was like he literally had like very minimal input in the beginning of production, and then moved on because Konami parted ways with him. And it was like, why are you still using his name on this if literally his input had almost nothing to do with it?
If his solo career has told us anything, while Konami really did do him dirty, Kojima's not really as much of an innocent party as people try to make it out to be. Because Kojima is a bit of a prima donna, and like, I don't know.
Well, he doesn't seem to like video games.
What?
He does. Kojima doesn't seem to really like video games. He just wants to make partially interactive movies.
I don't know, but like, because like his games do have good gameplay. Like, he's not as bad as like the Neil Druckmanns, the Cory Barlogs of the world. Because if you look at his games, yes, there's a lot of cinematics, but there's still good gameplay there. Like, he actually has gameplay systems in his games. And Kojima is actually really good with like the meta, like, for example, Metal Gear Solid, the codex being on the back of the box, or the Psycho Mantis fight, reading your memory card. Like, Kojima actually does really interesting meta stuff that interacts with gameplay systems. He's not just like, oh, I'm directing a movie. No, he's directing a cinematic game. So like, you want to say that like he's too cinematic, sure, but he's not as bad as Cory Barlog or Neil Druckmann.
Well, here's my experiment is, they say that you can make a great game without a story, but you can't make a great game without great gameplay. And if the story is what's drawing you to the game, remove the story. Are you still enjoying playing the game?
I mean, like, what did the Doom guy say? It's like, story in a video game is like story in a porno. You expect it to be there, but it's not really that important.
Yeah,
I know he's walked back that phrase in recent years, but it's
I have to
pretty
agree with them. Like, story is a reward. It's part of the core game loop. You like in an RPG, you're grinding through a game to get to the next story beat, like the next story beat, the next cutscene. Like that's your
I'm
reward.
sorry, but there's only so many times I can handle walk through a hallway while people talk segments.
Yep.
Dear
Exactly.
God.
But like, look at Super Mario Brothers. Okay, it's arguably one of the most iconic games of all time. And I'm talking about the series in general. Like all the games, the stories they're not there. There's not like they don't even there's not even like I think Super Mario 64 was the only time that you ever had any kind of narrative text.
Well, the thing is, the thing is, you can have story in a game, but the story itself needs to be the gameplay. Like, look at KOTOR, like Knights of the Republic, a very story-heavy game, but you're interacting with, or Baldur's Gate 3 is a perfect example, where there's story, but the gameplay, like the story itself, shaping the story is part of the gameplay.
My
like you're an active, like in KOTOR, you are an active participant in the story. Like you're choosing dialogue options. Like the story is playing out, but you're not just like Yeah. No, you're choosing the dialogue. The story can be the gameplay. Look at
Half-Life.
Exit.
Like look at Half-Life. There's literally no story other than what you are playing. Nobody stops and puts a cutscene. The camera never gets removed from you.
Well, yeah, and yeah, there are scenes where like characters are talking, but you can run around the room and just do whatever.
Yep. Or you could ignore them. They could be talking and be like, whatever, I'm going to go open this door and leave. And you're out. Like,
the fact that we still know next to nothing about the Crow adaptation, I find very concerning.
Me too. That means reshoots. That means horrible. Like, it probably won't even see the light of day this year.
Yeah, it's probably just going to be delayed into oblivion. But like, yeah, like we're probably not going to see the Ray movie. Like, even if the reports of it getting delayed indefinitely were false, it's like what Master TDS said. Look at the reaction to that, but also the fact that they very quickly pivoted to a Grogu and Mandalorian film, and look at how little fanfare there was to the announcement. Like, it was like a blip on the news cycle.
Yeah, amen, Dave. I loved Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime, not only that, but there's a story there that is completely optional because you're scanning everything. You're just scanning logs and you can read them. So you can go through the entire game and not even give the story, and it's fine.
Yeah, because you're having fun playing it. So it's like, come for the game, stay for the story,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just getting tired of the cinematic action games. It's basically they're all the same game.
Yep.
Spider-Man is a little bit different because it actually has engaging gameplay systems.
Oh, that first Spider-Man game was a masterpiece.
Yeah, and like there's a reason why Spider-Man 2 didn't get any Game Awards. Well, they didn't bribe enough people, but also the fact that like Spider-Man 2 is iterative. They basically iterated on the stuff, and that's fine, but it didn't really do enough new stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, that, and like from I didn't even bother, but like from the people I know that played it, they're like, dude, as much as like the Miles Morales had the social justice crap in it, like this didn't have as much social justice crap, but it did have like things that I didn't want to see in a game, or at least what they didn't want to see in a game. And they're like, why? Like, it's almost like they doubled down on the bad stuff of the first one, where they're like, yeah, nobody was having fun of those awful, insufferable Mary Jane missions. Let's double up on those and let's make her ugly now. And it's like,
yeah,
who is this for? Like, who is this for? You literally, like, you nailed that first game. Like, that got all sorts of awards. That was like a 10 out of 10. You got it. Just give us more of that. And they're like, no, we're going to make you have two gay kids go to the prom, or like play as a deaf black chick that's doing graffiti. Because when I think of Spider-Man, like, that's what I want to play.
okay, like the mission in Spider-Man 1 where you see the carnage from from Miles' perspective, like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's a cool little. You're seeing it from his perspective, you know, like you're on, or you have to walk to Feast and you're walking through New York. Like, okay, those are fine. Those are fine missions. And, like, I will say, the boss fight with Miles and the Rhino is actually like, I'm going to be honest with you, it's actually kind of interesting because like you're doing the hacking. Like, like I actually thought that was kind of cool. Like a powerless person against the Rhino. Like that was actually kind of cool. Like I will admit that was a nice use of game mechanics. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But like the MJ stuff is just, it was just like pointless. I don't know.
Yeah, well, in this new one, apparently she's more powerful than Spider-Man because like they give her this like weird shock gun thing, and people were like, she can one-shot these enemies where Spider-Man's got to punch these guys like 6 or 7 times. That makes her more effective at subduing the enemy. Like that's dumb. Like you just disempowered your main hero.
I would not be surprised if there's a curse over the Crow, like given like the tragedy of all that stuff.
Oh, Brandon Lee.
Yeah, because like they've tried like doing sequels and remakes, and none of it's been able to stick. I don't know. They're just kind of a magic in that movie. Like even without like the tragedy of Brandon Lee, that movie probably would have been a hit. Would have been a hit regardless, because like they're just the magic with that movie.
Yeah, it didn't follow the book all that closely. Like there were a lot of like for some reason Fun Boy was the wasn't the or the guy with the car, T-Bird or whatever. T-Bird or whoever the guy is with the car was supposed to be the main villain in the book. But in the movie they gave it to like the Fun Boy guy or whatever. Or I can't remember what his name was, the main guy with the Asian girlfriend.
Are we having fun or what?
Yeah, I think we broke her.
I don't know. He was a good villain. I liked him.
Yeah, my favorite, like The Crow, the film had some really great one-liners, and some of them are carried over from the book. Like when Eric goes to that the mother of the girl that's telling the story.
Mother is the name on the chat.
Yeah, mother is the name of God on the lips and mouths of children everywhere. Morphine is bad for you, and he like bleeds the morphine out of her, basically detoxes her. And it was like, that is freaking epic. Holy crap, somebody knows what drug abuse is like. Holy crap, like that is amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. I do feel like Crow City of Angels could have been good. Like that's one of those films that got massacred in the edit. Like I know there's been kind of like a reconstruction attempt. Like that actually had Tree Tang in it. They had the Yellow Power Ranger in that movie.
Oh damn! Really? Nice.
Yeah, and she actually had a martial arts thing, and I guess like the love interest was the little girl from the first movie or something. But yeah, Brendan Lee had the charisma to be a top star.
Yeah,
like I guarantee you, if Brendan Lee had survived, he probably would have been Neo.
Oh, easily, dude. That, and it sucked too because like prior to The Crow, like when he was just kind of building up his career, he was always playing like second fiddle characters. Like the first time he didn't was in that movie. I think it was called like Ricochet. But he was in that Punisher movie with Dolph Lundgren. No, I'm sorry, not Dolph. Wasn't Punisher. It was Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph Lundgren. And it was like he played this like second fiddle character, and it's like, why are you making Brandon Lee the second fiddle? Like this guy should be like the main hero.
The Crow would have been his breakout role for sure, because like that movie would have been a hit because it is just a really good movie. And it would have been his breakout role, and yeah, as a, like, and people would see like, okay, he is his father's was a really good martial artist.
Yep.
I still can't believe they ripped off for the part of Neo to Will Smith at first. Like, I don't really see that movie working with Will Smith. Will Smith. I'm sorry.
Getting jiggy with it. No. And he's in like.
I mean, if you look at like what Will Smith was doing in the '90s, he was a legit action star in the late '90s.
Well, he was the sci-fi guy to go to, you know, in the early 2000s as well. Like, was it I Am Legend, I, Robot?
Oh, did you know they offered the part of Agent Smith to Sean Connery?
Oh,
Mr.
wow.
Anderson. Like that's why he did Leave with Story Gentleman, because they offered him part of Gandalf. He turned it down. They offered him part of Agent Smith, turned it down. And he saw how all these like big blockbuster movies are blowing up. And he thought like this was his last chance. So that's why he did Leave with Story Gentleman.
Oh. Well, here's the thing: is I think Hugo Weaving.
That movie is not as bad as people make it out to be.
No, I liked it. In fact, their representation of Captain Nemo was the first time I saw an actual representation of Captain Nemo that was like closer to what he was in the book. Because in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the one with Kirk Douglas and stuff, like he was just a British captain, but he had like a black beard and everything. And it was like, no, he's Indian. Like that's the whole point. Is like it was like a danger to Britain's navy because you have this guy that's under English rule essentially. You know, he's part of the colonies of England or whatever, and he's got this whatever it is, the U-boat or like at the time
submarine.
They didn't even call it a submarine because they didn't know what it was. They called it the Nautilus, but it was like they didn't have the term submarine yet, so it was like deep submersible vehicle or like in World War II they called them U-boats. But that thing was it was kind of like a boogeyman to the British Navy. They're like, oh yeah, we'd lose more ships to Captain Nemo. So seeing him there with the scimitar and the Sikh outfit, like I was like, yes, this is like, you guys know what you're talking about now. This is what I remember reading. So
yeah, and like I love what they did with Mina.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mina Harker. Yeah.
In fact, that depiction of Mina actually inspired me. Like, I'm gonna have a vampire Mina in my universe. And he's going to be evil.
Oh,
yeah. I've told you about some. I've told you about some of the stuff I had planned. So,
yeah, I
agree. But I do feel like if Brendan Lee had survived, he probably would have played Neo. I just think like Brendan Lee's persona would have been perfect for Neo. And I just think, and plus with his martial arts background, he would have been made the perfect. Like I could totally see Brendan Lee playing Neo.
Yeah. God, could you imagine if he got involved with like Haim Saban? Because like when that Mortal Kombat movie came out, the original Mortal Kombat movie, it spawned a bunch of the martial arts craze of like the late mid 90s. Was insane. Like
mid 90s, early 2000s. You got to realize that because Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon really set things on fire.
But that Mortal Kombat movie, I remember they started a series because there was this Korean martial artist Hosan.
He might have honestly, Brendan Lee might have played Liu Kang if we're going by this timeline.
Well, he could have.
I think the guy who played Liu Kang did a good enough job, by the way.
Yeah, there was Robin. I can't remember his last name, but there was a series that came out on Fox. It was like Martial Arts Masters or whatever, and Shannon Lee was on there. Shannon Lee was like the I don't know, the commentator or whatever. Like
you also got Bruce Lee, the biopic that came out in the late 90s.
Yeah, you could have played his dad, and instead of Jason Scott Lee. Although I think Jason Scott Lee freaking nailed that role. Didn't look like Bruce, but he freaking acted like him. It was awesome.
But yeah, I could totally see Brendan Lee riding the martial arts wave of the late 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. What do you took in Jet Li's place? Because I know Jet Li was doing a lot of films. I still think Jet Li probably would have still I don't know, because Jet Li basically filled the role of the martial arts star in the late 90s.
Well, that and so the thing with Brandon is he's like me. He's mixed Asian, so he could pass as Caucasian. And
but he also has the son of Bruce Lee, and the fact that he's actually a good martial artist, he can live up to the legacy.
Well, that's why I think he would have been a huge hit in America. Is like it was, if you watch the Bruce Lee, Dragon the Bruce Lee story, he's running these ideas about a kung fu based series to these producers in Hollywood, and they ended up passing on him as the star, even though Bruce Lee was pretty much one of the main creators or the main idea pushers for kung fu. The series with David Carradine. And they chose David Carradine instead of Bruce Lee because Carradine was a white guy or a half white guy or whatever, And it was like, that was because that was, the sign of the times. They wanted, America wasn't ready, blah, 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 whatever. But like Brandon he's white too. So he could have lived in both worlds and done fine.
Imagine if they had done a Shang-Chi movie in like 2002 with him.
Yeah, he would have been an awesome Shang-Chi. Although Shang-Chi was basically Bruce Lee, like in the comics.
Yeah, pretty much. Or Richard Dragon. Richard Dragon is Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah.
Imagine they did a Richard Dragon movie in like 2002. Like, what movie that I wish we could have gotten? Imagine like Black Panther coming out in 1999 starring Wesley Snipes. That would have been a good movie. He wanted to do it. He wanted to.
At the premiere of Black Panther. Yeah.
I have a feeling Quentin Tarantino probably would have never done that because then he would have had to answer to Brendan Lee.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because like people got really pissed off on that. But I saw at the premiere of I didn't personally go, but I saw photos of this at the premiere of the first Black Panther movie. Mm-hmm. People dressed up as the king and one of the princes, not Eddie Murphy's character, but Semi, the king of Zamuda or whatever.
Coming to America.
They showed up to the premiere of Black Panther dressed up as the Coming to America characters. Wouldn't it be hilarious if those two were in the same universe? Man.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
See, Black Panther is not like the worst movie ever, but it's like if you go back and watch the movie, Black Panther gets sidelined in his own movie.
Yeah, he does.
He's literally dead for a third of the movie. He actually gets killed halfway the movie. And then for like a third of the movie, he's not even in it.
Yeah, it was pretty much all about Killmonger.
Well, don't get me wrong, Killmonger was a great character, but
Madge Sinclair, yeah.
It's like if you look at the Black Panther we got in Civil War, and then the one we got in Black Panther, it's kind of sad because like the one we got in Civil War was really great.
Yeah, he was scary.
Like how long do you think you can keep him from me?
Yep.
And like I know they're planning on having Chadwick Boseman kind of take like the Tony Stark role, and you know what? He probably could have done it. Chadwick Boseman, his character had the presence and the charisma. He could have taken the Tony Stark role and been like the leader of the Avengers because like that guy is so charismatic, and
Well, I was heartbroken because my favorite character or X-Men character in the Marvel universe is Storm. And it frustrates the hell out of me that they're all about this diversity and all this other crap. And you literally did nothing with Storm. She was the queen of Wakanda.
She's a literal goddess.
Yeah, she is basically the like a force of nature. She's a elemental wizard, And they completely and then when I saw Jade Cargill, the wrestler, cosplay that, I was like, God, get that woman a contract. Put her in a damn movie.
Oh dear God, 90s Phantom movie is so good.
Yeah. Freaking was it Billy Zane?
Yeah, Billy Zane. Do you ever watch the Shadow movie like with Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
Like he's like it's a little weird watching the movie now because like he's just using guns throughout the movie. It's like I hope you didn't shoot anyone on set.
Well, if you are a fan of old pulp comics, or old Pump Radio serials, Razor Fist did an amazing reading of some of the Shadows, or a Shadow episode. And dude, like that was like, I'm like, okay, where do I get the comic? Where, because like he's basically Batman, but he kills people.
I mean,
I was
the
like,
Shadow
whoa.
was partially an inspiration for Batman. So
Yeah, and it was, but it's like you think like normally, like especially when I was a teenager, I was like, I don't want to watch if it's a black and white movie, you lost me. I have no interest in it. And now that I'm a little older, I watched, I hear some of this older stuff, and I actually develop more of an appreciation for it, and it makes me want, like when I saw the Alec Baldwin one, I was like, oh, this is based off of like something older, kind of like with the Rocketeer, and it
yeah.
makes me want to go see the original stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the Rocketeer was based off of like an '80s comic that's kind of an homage to that era.
Yeah, it's a period piece. Yeah.
What artists do we want to see more of in 2020? Probably my artists and showing off my books, and probably more of like your artists.
God.
Yeah. So right now we're working on Turn Samurai issue 4, and that's coming along pretty good. We're working on the pencils for the books, and then Screecher number 3 is going to be coming along in October. So yeah, that's the plan we got. I'm kind of filling for air. But yeah, so if you've made it this far, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I have a Patreon where I've been uploading stuff. So here is a preview of Turn Samurai. These are the pencils, so they are subject to change.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did too. My dad showcased a lot of sci-fi to me. So yeah, this is page 1. You got kind of like a trading kind of thing going on between them. And shout out to my artist Brian Q. He's just knocking out of the park with this stuff. So yeah, these are just the pencils. They haven't been ink shaded or colored yet, so just kind of keep that in mind. But like even at the pencil stage, just look at the detail this guy's putting in.
Wow.
Like this is like very time consuming. It's just like I love the detail he's putting in with the city streets. It's like, oh, it's so good. But yeah,
actually, yeah, I've let's see. I've been working on some stuff for my getting ready for the the convention coming in September, and I got my hands on a touchscreen kiosk like those ones you see at the mall.
Do I have permission to show this on the stream?
Sure.
All right, because it's set to unlisted, so I didn't want to like.
Yeah, it's unlisted because it's not like a professionally made. It was just something I did.
If you could make Screecher real, would you date her with a like? I probably wouldn't date her because Avery is 19 years old and I'm 36, so like the age difference is kind of big. So I'm gonna say no. All right, so narrate what we got here.
So this is my kiosk that I've set up with a touch screen that the public can interact with, and it's basically featuring the Infinitel Chronicles stuff. Like it's still an early alpha. So, yeah, it's still an early alpha. So like I got to work on the some of the touch. Like I made some of the buttons smaller than I needed to, or the touch sensitivity. See, I'm like tapping it; it's not doing anything. But then I tap it again, and suddenly it works. It's like, what the? Okay, there we go. And you can basically, those are things like. So yeah, you can play the trailer. You can even preview the book. So in this little sneak peek, I actually show you that you can preview the first book, which you can also do on the website right now. But but you have the huge screen here. That allows you to preview the entire, or at least the first few pages of it, or 15 pages or something.
Okay.
And
This is way too good. I'm sorry. This is way too good. Why are you not making gobs of money?
I wish I could answer that, man. But
Screecher is not Screecher. Oh my god. Yeah, Screecher isn't 26 yet, so she's definitely Leo's age.
yeah,
That is really good.
And beyond that, I actually I made these. I don't I don't know why. Yeah, I feel like I'm in like drunk view trying to like tap these buttons because I'm like looking through my TV screen or my phone screen at it. But like, see, here's like a Meet the Heroes, and you can learn more about the heroes.
Your destiny.
See, and it gives you a little bio about the character.
I'm sorry, she just looks like a blood elf to me.
Oddly enough, she came out about 20 years before the Blood Elves.
Really?
Yeah. Well, again, this was something I had developed in the 90s. Like this story is something that was written back in the early 90s.
Maybe Chris Metzen saw your sketchbook and be like, "Oh, I'm going to remember this."
I don't know. I mean, I've heard if it's a good idea, other people have had it as well. But like here's the world map, and you can touch on spots on the map. Or is it? Yeah,
Haley's like nice.
So you learn about the different different parts of the world, and
the seven sovereignties.
So it goes over all the different kingdoms or the seven sovereignties of Foythla. And then the final little bit here is the art gallery where I'm gonna showcase my artists. Where you'll have a nice little, I'll be adding the little QR codes and stuff. You can find out like their websites.
Have you ever thought about like video games, like or making like a Neverwinter Nights module for this stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would love to make a video game off of this. The only problem is like the resources required to do it. I mean,
just don't have West Coast Customs make a bus to promote your game.
Damn.
Sorry. Like I knew you'd get the joke. I knew you would. But...
The Kern and his freaking. He also had like Stage 5, like some TV movie thing. It was freaking ridiculous.
All right, so I wanted to kind of before we close out. So one way you can support me. Well, if you're watching this, you're supporting me right now. Thank you. But another way is you can sign up for my Patreon. And I have I just kind of wanted to give like a little kind of like advertisement for my Patreon, you know. So I have a couple different membership tiers. For $1, you get behind the scenes. You get to see like the pages as they come out. Then for $5 a month, you can get access to all the back issues because like I've been putting the issues of the comic on my Patreon so we can buy them on the shop. But if you subscribe to the $5 tier, you get these for free. Okay. And then for $10, once we start doing the movie nights, you get to pick the movie nights and all that stuff. Ooh. So, right now, I got one very, very great Patreon. Shout out to Princess Corgan. You're awesome. And yeah, so I post this stuff. And yeah, that's a great way to help me. And I would appreciate it if you could check it out, maybe take a look. Minimum for $1 to see the stuff. Also, I would like to announce that Screecher number 2 digital will be available for purchase next Friday. It is going to be a timed exclusive on my Patreon. So you'll be able to purchase it for $3. But if you're part of the $5 tier on above, you get it for free. In addition to all my other comics. So, feel free to sign up. Just wanted to give myself a little bit of a thing. And if you've made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe. You guys are awesome. Chris, any last words?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I had a blast. If you want to check out any future progress of what I'm working on there, you can head over to Twitter, or X as it's called. My handle is @InfinitailComic, or you can hop on the website at InfinitailChronicles.com and follow the latest news and developments for Infinitail Chronicles.
That is awesome. You're awesome. And I I will be going live tomorrow for my weekly video game live stream. Real quick. So, let's see here. So I got 3 issues of Turn Samurai. Don't drink the green milk, only blue. Yes. So I got 3 issue Turn Samurai, 2 issues of Streacher, and then 1 issue of Project Access. So 6 comics in total, Dave. But yeah, I'll be streaming Pokemon Yellow. We'll be heading towards Celadon City, taking down the Team Rocket hideout. We'll be going live at 8 o'clock on this very channel. So thank you everyone for joining us. I appreciate you all. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're the ones to walk through it.